People always ask how I get my stories. They assume I spend my nights trekking through the Appalachian brush, hunting for cryptids with a flashlight and a camera. The truth's much more boring. Most of my leads come from a P.O. box in town, or a handful of locals who know I'll listen when the sheriff won't. And occasionally, a story comes from the sheriff's department itself. Usually, it costs me a bottle of cheap bourbon. There's a night shift deputy at the Lantern Bend Dispatch Center who knows about the green logbook I keep under my workbench. He knows my history as a ranger, and he knows I don't ask questions about where the audio files he slips me come from. 2 days ago, I found a plain USB drive sitting on the passenger seat of my unlocked truck. There was no note, just a single audio file, titled Incident 404, Do Not Archive. When I plugged it into my air-gapped laptop in the workshop, I checked the metadata first. The file was recorded only 48 hours prior. This wasn't some cold case from the 90s. This was happening right now, in our backyard. The tape's a 911 call from a woman living in a solitary, single-story ranch house on the extreme northern edge of the Lantern Bend Valley. The first 3 minutes of the call sound exactly like a standard prowler report. The operator is calm, empathetic, and professional. But I want you to pay very close attention to the exact moment the operator's tone changes. I want you to listen to how fast the empathy disappears when the dispatcher realizes what's actually standing in this woman's backyard, and what questions he asks to confirm it. I haven't edited the audio. I haven't cut out the dead air. This is the raw dispatch feed. Listen closely.
Lantern Bend 911, what's the location of your emergency?
Yes, hi. I need a squad car sent out to 4210 Miller Creek Road. There's someone in my backyard.
Okay, I'm getting a unit dispatched to your location right now. Can I get your first name?
Sarah.
Okay, Sarah, are you currently inside the house?
Yes, I'm in the kitchen. I've got the lights off. I'm hiding behind the island.
That's good. Stay out of sight. I need you to verify that all your doors and windows are locked, including the deadbolts. Can you do that for me?
I did. I locked them as soon as the motion light kicked on. He's just standing there, at the edge of the tree line. It's pouring rain and he isn't even moving. He's just staring at my back porch.
I know it's frightening, Sarah, but you're doing exactly what you need to do. A deputy is en route and should be there in approximately 12 minutes. Are you alone in the house?
Yes. My husband works the graveyard shift at the mill. It's just me. Please, can you tell them to hurry? He just took a step out of the trees.
They're driving as fast as the weather permits, ma'am. Can you give me a physical description of the prowler? What's he wearing?
He's wearing a yellow raincoat, like one of those old heavy rubber ones fishers wear. But, oh my God, he's so tall. He has to be almost 7 feet tall.
Okay, a tall male in a yellow raincoat. Is he carrying anything in his hands?
I don't think so. His arms are hanging straight down, but they're too long. His fingers are practically touching his knees. And the way he's moving, it's wrong. It's jerky, like he's lagging or stuttering.
Ma'am, I need you to look at the rain around the subject. Is the rain hitting him normally?
What? What kind of question is that?
Please, ma'am, look at the rain hitting the yellow coat. Is it splashing?
No, it's not. The rain's just sliding around him, like he's inside a bubble. He's standing directly under the security floodlight now. He's looking right at the kitchen window.
Okay, can you see his face?
The light is hitting his face perfectly, but his eyes, there aren't any pupils. They're completely white, like milk. And his jaw...
Ma'am, what about his jaw?
It's broken. It has to be broken. It's hanging completely unhinged, resting all the way down against his chest. His mouth is just a massive, black hole. What's wrong with him?
Ma'am.
He just smiled. Oh my God, how is he smiling with his jaw like that?
Ma'am, stop looking at the subject.
Please, you need to get someone out here right now. He's walking toward the house.
Sarah, Listen to me very carefully. I'm overriding the patrol dispatch. I'm initiating Protocol Black. You need to step away from the exterior walls immediately.
What? Protocol Black? What are you talking about? Where are the police?
The police aren't coming to your residence. If they approach the perimeter, the entity will perceive them as a threat and it'll breach your home. Do exactly as I say, and you'll survive the night. I need you to find a corded landline telephone. Do you have a corded landline in the house?
Let's pause here for a second. Listen to the dispatcher's voice. The second Sarah mentioned the unhinged jaw and the white eyes, he completely dropped the customer service empathy. He didn't ask his supervisor for advice. He didn't sound confused. He instantly read from a deeply ingrained, highly classified protocol. He knew exactly what was standing on her lawn, and he knew a squad car full of deputies with 9mm wasn't going to stop it. Did you notice the question about the rain? The dispatcher wasn't looking for a physical description anymore. He was looking for an anomaly confirmation. He knew this thing disrupted localized barometric pressure. I'm going to play the next segment. Before I do, you need to know that I ran this audio file through a spectrogram program in my workshop. When the dispatcher initiates Protocol Black, a heavy, rhythmic static starts building in the background of the call. It sounds like interference from the storm. It isn't. When you isolate that frequency on a graph, the static forms perfect, uniform geometric blocks. It's a mechanical jamming signal. The entity wasn't just walking up to her house. It was actively trying to isolate her communication.
I've got the phone. It's in the hallway. It's plugged into the wall.
Good. I need you to take the coiled cord and wrap it tightly around your left wrist. Wrap it 3 times. Do not let go of the receiver under any circumstances.
Why? What's happening?
If the entity breaches the structure, the hard line is grounded. It can't manipulate your internal electrical currents if you're physically tethered to the copper wiring in the wall. Do you understand?
It's on the porch. Oh God, it's right outside the door. I can hear it breathing.
Sarah, open the door. I forgot my keys at the mill.
That's my husband's voice. How's it doing that?
Do not look at the door. It'll ask you to let it in. You must reply with a prime number greater than 10. If you give it an even number, it'll interpret it as compliance and it'll breach the lock.
Sarah, the rain is freezing. Open the door.
13.
Sarah, please. I cut my hand on the bandsaw. I'm bleeding. Open the door.
Mark? Are you hurt?
Sarah, do not engage with the narrative. It's reading your vitals through the wood. Give it another prime number.
17. Just go away. 17 is a prime number, Sarah. I'm 17. I'm bleeding. Open the door. It's mimicking me now. It's using my voice.
Let's pause again. Did you hear it? Behind the horrific mimicry of her own voice, there's a low, rhythmic scratching. It isn't coming from the front door. It's coming from above her. The entity wasn't just standing on the porch mimicking her and her husband. It was projecting the voice through the wood while simultaneously climbing the exterior wall to test the roof structure. The dispatcher knew this. Listen to his next instruction.
Sarah, keep the cord wrapped around your wrist. Do not let go of the copper.
The voice stopped. It's quiet outside. Did it leave?
Stay tethered to the wall. Has the temperature in the hallway dropped?
Yes. I can see my breath. Wait. Phone. Plastic on the receiver is getting hot.
Protocol Black is holding. The grounding wire is absorbing the anomaly. Do not let go.
It's burning me! It smells like melting plastic! Please, I have to drop it!
Sarah, hold the line. That's an order.
It's burning! The cord's melting into my skin!
The tape cuts to dead static right there. Not a dial tone. Just the heavy, geometric, mechanical buzzing I saw on the spectrogram. The file ends abruptly. There's no conclusion, no follow-up, and no record of deputies ever arriving at the scene. When I finished listening to the tape, it was 5 in the morning. The sun wasn't up yet. I pulled the USB drive out of my computer, grabbed my 12-gauge from the closet, and got into my truck. I needed to see the physical reality of Protocol Black. 4210 Miller Creek Road is incredibly isolated. It sits at the end of a heavily wooded dirt road, miles away from the nearest neighbor. When I parked my truck a quarter-mile down the road and hiked the rest of the way in, the first thing I noticed was the silence. The deep woods are never truly quiet, even before dawn. But here, there were no crickets, no wind in the pines. The air felt heavy and dense, like the static pressure you feel right before a massive lightning strike. As I crept through the brush toward the property line, I saw a vehicle idling in the driveway. It was a late-model Ford F-150, Mark's truck. The headlights were off, but the engine was running. I approached it slowly, shotgun raised. The driver's side door was hanging wide open. The interior was empty, but the keys were in the ignition, and a thermos of coffee was sitting in the cup holder, still steaming. Mark had come home from his graveyard shift, but he never made it inside. I moved past the truck, approaching from the rear tree line, moving exactly where Sarah said the entity had been standing. The grass wasn't just trampled. The mud was compressed into deep, unnatural divots, and every single pine tree facing the house had its bark completely stripped bare on one side, like it had been sandblasted by a localized tornado. I kept the shotgun leveled and stepped onto the back porch. I looked up at the security floodlight. It wasn't shattered. The glass bulb had completely melted, dripping down the vinyl siding like a massive glass stalactite. I tested the handle on the back door. It was unlocked. I pushed it open and stepped into the kitchen. The house was dead quiet. There was no sign of a physical struggle. No overturned furniture, no blood. But the smell was overwhelming. It smelled intensely of ozone, burnt copper, and melting plastic. I walked past the stove. The digital clock was strobing rapidly, cycling through numbers that don't exist on a 12-hour format. I moved into the living room. The drywall was completely intact, but every single reflective surface in the room, the television screen, the glass over the picture frames, the large mirror above the mantel, was completely spiderwebbed with fractal cracks. The entity hadn't just jammed the radio signals. It had violently distorted the optical reflections in the house. I moved slowly into the hallway. I found the phone jack on the wall. It was a blackened crater. The plastic housing had completely vaporized. But the cord wasn't missing. The coiled wire was fused directly into the hardwood floor, branded into the planks like a black vein trailing down the hall toward the master bedroom. I followed it. I placed my boots carefully, avoiding the creaking floorboards. The closer I got to the bedroom, the colder the air became. I reached the doorway and pushed the heavy oak door open with the barrel of my shotgun. The bedroom was the epicenter. The mattress was scorched black. In the center of the rug, the plastic phone receiver had melted into a thick, toxic puddle. And sitting perfectly in the center of that melted plastic was a pile of fine, white ash. Sitting completely untouched on top of the ash was a gold wedding band. I stood there, trying to process the sheer thermal energy required to vaporize a human being while leaving the surrounding carpet intact. Whatever electrical current that entity had pushed into the house, the copper wire had absorbed it. But Sarah wasn't just holding the wire. She was the fuse. I heard a sharp crack above my head. I shined my mag light up at the ceiling. The drywall was heavily bowed downward, cracking under an immense, localized weight. The entity hadn't breached the door. It had breached the attic. I stepped back into the hallway, positioned myself directly beneath the attic pull-down hatch, and reached up to unlatch it. As soon as I pulled the wooden stairs down, a wave of freezing, putrid air hit me in the face. I raised the shotgun with one hand and shined the light up into the rafters. The attic was empty, but the thick copper wiring running along the roof joists was completely coated in a slick, black, oil-like residue. The entity hadn't left the house. It had been sucked directly into the structural grounding wire. Before I could push up into the attic to investigate further, I heard the heavy crunch of gravel outside. I silently pushed the attic stairs back up, clicking the latch into place. I moved to the front window of the bedroom and peered through the blinds. A plain, unmarked white utility van had just pulled into the driveway, parking directly behind Mark's idling truck. Two men stepped out. They weren't wearing sheriff's uniforms or EMT jackets. They were wearing heavy insulated rubber lineman suits, the kind designed to handle high-voltage electrical lines. One of them was sweeping the yard with a heavy Geiger counter-like device. The other was carrying a massive lead-lined lockbox wrapped in heavy grounding chains. The front door unlocked. They had a key. I didn't have time to make it to the back door. I backed into the master bathroom, pulling the door almost completely shut, leaving a half-inch gap to look through, and held my breath. The heavy footsteps of the rubber boots moved methodically down the hallway. They didn't call out for Sarah. They didn't announce themselves as police. They walked straight into the master bedroom. Through the gap in the door, I watched the man with the scanner sweep it over the melted phone and the pile of ash. The machine let out a series of sharp, rapid clicks that sounded like a rattlesnake.
Grid capture confirmed. The anomaly is trapped in the local breaker panel. Ambient temperatures are stabilizing.
The second man set the lead lockbox on the bed.
What's the status of the tether?
The first man nudged the gold wedding ring with the toe of his rubber boot.
Incinerated during the grounding sequence. The copper held long enough to act as a funnel. Protocol Black performed within acceptable loss margins. Grab the lockbox. We need to extract the entity from the basement fuse box before the local grid powers back up, or it's going to ride the lines all the way to the Lantern Bend substation.
The two men turned and walked out of the bedroom, heading for the basement door in the kitchen. I didn't wait to see the extraction. I slipped out the master bedroom window, dropping into the soft mud of the side yard, and disappeared into the tree line before they even reached the bottom of the stairs. I don't know what they pulled out of that basement. I don't know what happened to Mark out in the driveway. But as I hiked the quarter-mile back to my truck, my hands shaking against the cold steel of my shotgun, one thing became absolutely clear. Protocol Black isn't a rescue operation. It's a containment strategy. The dispatcher wasn't trying to save Sarah. He was using her as a human grounding wire, a living, breathing piece of bait designed to trap the anomaly until the cleanup crew could arrive. Like I said, ignorance isn't a shield out here. It's a liability. If you made it to the end of the tape, drop Protocol Black in the comments so I know you stayed tethered to the line. And tell me, what prime number would you choose if something that sounded like someone you love asked you to open the door? Also, I know this is a different style than normal, so I'm interested to hear what you think. If you want more raw tapes and field logs from Lantern Bend, hit subscribe and turn on the bell. I've got a lot more audio to go through. All right, stay safe out there. I'll see you next time.